1, 2, 3, that's the sound of my D. I got 3 bitches at my house just last week. And now I'm hanging with your sister, she's the freak of the week. She wants to really help me study, but she ain't no geek. I go crazy and bananas like a donkey, I spit. And security cameras caught me swinging my dick. Do the hustle now, everybody really wants to kick it with me. Cause my D is so big that it could hang from a tree. Yeah.
I pull up to the party and I'm feeling like a zombie. In the bathroom with the hottie, but we aren't going potty. Your sister's always calling and I think she wants to fuck me. I finish getting naughty, then I hit the Ricky Bobby. I go silly like the show Squidbillies, eating on a hot dog smothered in chili. I know you don't want to see me winning, but I'm making so much turkey you would think it's Thanksgiving. D's so big like a flamingo, B's so big make them curl their toes. I keep it cool like Nat King Cole. That's how it is and that's how it goes.
Crazy and bananas like a donkey, I split. And security cameras caught me swinging my dick. Do the hustle now, everybody really wants to kick it with me. Cause my D is so big that it could hang from a tree. Yeah. Crazy and bananas like a donkey, I split. And security cameras caught me swinging my dick. Do the hustle now, everybody really wants to kick it with me. Cause my D is so big that it could hang from a tree.
Repent! Repent! Repent!
Underground battles of Half-Life. Barney Callum versus Adrian Shepard. Begin!
Hey, yo, it's Artie, and I'm a frickin' Marine. And my M249 blows your smithereens. Most new content out of every expansion. And my multiplayer mode will have you dancing. I save the world even though I'm a bad guy. You save the worst character, but you let the rest die. Game can be beat in 25 minutes. Shortest Half-Life game in the book of Guinness.
That's not true. What about Lost Coast? And your speedrun is only 20 minutes at most. Blue Ship's not my only game. I'm on Half-Life 2 and Episode 1. What about you? Only one. Opposing Force? Chronicle Gun sucks. I saved Rosenberg. The Lord sucks on my nuts. Your game might be longer, but my Zen has more joy. And I actually escaped. G-Man left you in the void.
Oh, wow.
About that beer out of you. It's me, Gordon Barney from Black Mesa.
Who's this coming up? Is that... Oh my god, Gordon Freeman!
Here comes the Gordle. I got 4 games total. Your games suck balls, yeah, they suck on my scrotal. Smash you open like a vending machine full of soda. Hey, Barney, aren't you behind on your beating quota? And little Adrian, I'm coming in your mom! Call me G-Man, I'm activating rap bombs. Guys, Arsenal, Glue on Gun, and Taucan. I'm the one free man. You guys aren't even canon.
Who won? Who's next? New design! Epic rap battles of Half-Life!
What kind of ragdoll runs away? No ragdoll at all. A disfigured watermelon monster. What a reputation to leave behind. Is that how you want to be remembered? Last chance to look at me, Blue Spy.
They see me cloaking, they hating, turtling and trying to catch me 7th century. 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 That ring is so loud. I'm praying and hoping they don't hear me. Trying to 7th century. Trying to catch me 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 7th
Other teams got a
century.
level 3 century gun. Going spy, gonna do what's gotta be done. They'll quit the Diamondbacks just to ruin all their fun. I'ma sneak up the scoreboard to number 1. Engineer fighting back but having no luck. He must be playing with his team controller. Oh shit, their pyro finally showed up. Too late, the nest's already blown up. Don't you know I'm lazy like lazy purple? Red tape recorder got him going crazy. Fang Death make it out all nice and safely. Pyros on patrol and you know they hate me. Cloak is filled all the way up into the maximum. Oh shit, heavy pulling out his Gatling gun. I'm about to stab and run and then I'll fap and come. Scouts mama's got me brick up to the maximum. Grabbing ammo, I'm losing cloak. Skies is heavy so I'm moving slow. Engineer's head twisting all around like nope. Pulling out my butterfly, jamming at his throat. He thought it was a medic, it was just an illusion. Look at all the salt your team's producing. Trying to single me out but I just keep juking. Got vote kick for CL and Terp abusing, but I still ain't losing.
They see me cloaking, they hating, turtling and trying to catch me 7th century. 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 That ring is so loud. I'm praying and hoping they don't hear me. Trying to 7th century. Trying to catch me 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 7th century.
I'm a wrenching Frenchman, and the pungent stench is just too strong for my team, cause I can't see 3 of these stink clouds coming from the street on me. And fellas, we gotta spy check a little harder, cause retarded floods and spies afoot. Shooting a billion bullets a minute, Europeans be sapping my toolkit a bit stupid in it. I got the check up in my right hand, 3 hits on a sapper, suck my balls. I can see these guys through my wall, coming out of spawn with all my dogs, y'all. I'm gonna give them prime meat, shotgun or a pistol, packed heat, back power, ass so get beat, back, hope no one sees me, from behind me. Thank God for teammates with ears and pybros with home wrecker. And I won't get flicked at or tricked at by no weaves anymore. While you were all watching anime, I was building dispensers 12 hours a day. Send 5 spies, they'll be soon all back at spawn, putting their clown makeup on.
They see me cloaking, they hating, turtling and trying to catch me 7th century. 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 That ring is so loud. I'm praying and hoping they don't hear me. Trying to 7th century. Trying to catch me 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 7th century.
What? No! Yo, what the fuck was that? This spy was right in front of me. How the fuck was that a backstab? This game is such fucking bullshit. I saw the backstab animation. No. Look at this shit. Look at this shit, dude. This dude's name is Honeydew with a profile pic. It's a fucking furry profile picture. Why wouldn't it be? And of course, a link to his goddamn femboy cocksock boyfriend right underneath the pronoun bullshit. He, her, and they, which isn't funny. Pick one. Oh, and of course the fucker's got $7,800.
Good evening. I'm opening a Discord server. I have no idea how long it will last or how successful it will be, but I'll be in there at least for the evening. I'll be answering questions and talking about the new Badwater videos uploaded. This video will probably be unlisted after a short while, so don't be surprised if you can't find it later.
Good evening. Half-Life has a long history of sexual themes and imagery. From the pre-release builds to the retail products, the series, popularly lauded as a distinguished and matured hallmark in the FPS genre, has catered to its prime demographic of developing teenagers more than I think a lot of players realize. In order to illustrate what I'm talking about, let's start from the beginning, the Half-Life 1 Alpha. By now, I'm sure a lot of fans are familiar with Mr. Friendly, a canned monster that was intended to not just brutalize Gordon with claws or sonic waves, but to pull Gordon towards itself for what was described as fatal copulation. According to its designer, Ted Backman, the monster was designed to elicit a homophobic response from the game's audience, who Backman pinned as mostly 14-year-old boys. But this information, which is primarily sourced from the book Half-Life 2 Raising the Bar, has become popular trivia in the Half-Life community. What I think deserves a greater spotlight is the unnamed female scientist character, who was also axed in the game's alpha stages. Have a quick look at her character model. As you can see, while the other scientists wore modest lab coats and glasses, this female scientist was set to put her ample bosom on display for the world to see. Her role was to betray the player as part of a cut chapter called the Communication Center, and although that arc was entirely scrapped, it did make way for the later Half-Life 2 character Judith Mossman. Early concept art for an enemy dubbed the female CIA soldier showed an assailant with pigtails, exposed abs, and protruding nipples. This design would later turn into the female assassin enemy, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now let's have a look at the actual game. Moving on to Half-Life 1 as it launched, we can tell the game's story and setting was ironed out to be more grounded. But the game was not entirely scrubbed of its sex appeal. One of the many enemies Gordon faces throughout his journey are the aforementioned female assassins, highly trained Black Ops members who leap around the map while picking at Gordon from a distance. These enemies are clearly designed to be somewhat sexually appealing, with breast bouncing even built into their animations. They also wear black jumpsuits with straps over their chest, so it's not hard to see how they might appeal to someone with a thing for rubber or latex. As part of a promotional campaign for Half-Life, Valve and Sierra put out an image showing off a live-action depiction of the Black Ops assassin, with the tagline, "She's smart, has a great personality, and knows that the way to a man's heart is through his sternum." While the well-endowed female scientist from earlier is missing from the final game, Half-Life does feature one other female scientist named Gina Cross, who is shown sporting an HEV suit that would put even the most oppressive waist trainers to shame. I can't imagine lunging through the hazard course in that thing. To give Valve, or rather Gearbox, credit, Gina later starred alongside her colleague Colette Green in the co-op expansion Half-Life Decay, which toned down her design to be more reasonable. In that game, there's also voice lines of security guards trying to flirt with the two, which is pretty funny.
That's a flattering HEV suit you got there, if you don't mind my saying so. The orange in that suit really brings out your eyes.
Now let's have a look at pre-release Half-Life 2. Following up on Half-Life 1, Valve wanted to make something different, but recognizable. They drastically changed the setting from an American government facility to an Eastern European dystopia, but kept the arsenal and the enemy selection largely the same. A great example of Valve's attempts at calling back to Half-Life 1 is the Scrap Combine Assassin. This enemy was meant to be a direct successor to the Black Ops Assassin from the original game, behaving almost identically. And while this design wasn't nearly as provocative as the Black Ops Assassins are, they wore heels and had visible breasts, so of course people still found them hot. Remember how I mentioned them toning down Gina's design to make it more sensible? Well, throughout the development of Half-Life 2, they did the same to Alex. The E3 2002 demos show her in some kind of skin-tight, one-piece jumpsuit and tall boots, which were both canned by the time the next demonstration rolled around in 2003. Now let's move on to Half-Life 2 as it shipped. I think it's important to talk about the role that the female characters play. The Black Mesa East segment sticks out in particular. Mossman and Alex both spend the majority of this chapter competing for Gordon's attention. These are two girls who can't find common ground on anything except a mutual fascination and obsession with him. I think it's pretty obvious that this scene entertains the popular fantasy of a young, lonely male gamer, being desired by multiple women at once. And while we're on the topic of Black Mesa East, I'm sure you know about the sex toy that was put in that segment of the game's fan-made remaster, the Fake Factory cinematic mod, as well as the big-breasted versions of Alex it comes with. But did you know that Valve's original depiction of Alex isn't totally prudish either? In the base package of Half-Life 2, it's possible to see Alex's purple underwear, which sticks out from her pants if you look at the rear of her model. Shame on you. To take things back to Alex's role as a character, it's undeniable that the game attempts to influence the player to see her as a romantic and sexual interest, especially in the episodes. Episode 1 opens with Alex giving Gordon a big embrace, and later on Barney teases him about the two's relationship.
Go on across, Gordon. She's waiting for you, you lucky dog, you.
Things get even more blatant in Episode 2, with Alex winking at Gordon and Rebels asking her if he's her boyfriend.
So, is that your boyfriend?
And it really comes to a head near the ending sequence. Eli makes a crude comment about how Gordon should breed Alex now that the suppression field is down, making embryonic development and pregnancy in humans feasible again. Alex gets flustered and embarrassed, which Eli laughs at. Then he fucking dies. But not really. I do want to say that it's not unrealistic that Alex would start developing feelings for Gordon by this point, even if he is a mute psychopath whose number of victims is probably now higher than his MIT thesis paper's word count. He saves her life multiple times, seems to be in pretty good shape, and obviously very intelligent since he has a PhD. Most people would be interested, to be honest. And while it's easy to point at stuff like this and dismiss it as fan service, I think it's important to remember that Alex's bond with Gordon is realistic, or at least more realistic than Gordon surviving several thousand firefights equipped in nothing but an orange Teletubby suit. The interactions that suggest a romantic interest only happen after the two have shared many life or death experiences together. And I also think it's important to put it in context of the era. Look at Duke Nukem, which allows players to pay strippers to shake their breasts, or Sin, in which every single female character looks like the scrap female scientist from Half-Life 1. Despite the impression you might get from this video, Half-Life was more modest in handling sexual themes than most games of the era. So if I don't see Half-Life as a particularly raunchy or offensive game, then why did I make this video? Because I think it's interesting that both Half-Life games started out with heavier sexual themes and then toned them down. And also because it was funny. Gordon! Have sex with me right now.
You lucky dog, you.